Your phone buzzes. It's a text from your boss, or maybe your partner. 4 words. We need to talk. Instantly, your heart rate spikes and your stomach drops. Before you've even identified the problem, your thumbs are already flying across the screen, drafting a 3-paragraph apology or a sharp defensive counterattack. Psychologist Daniel Goleman calls this sudden, illogical override an amygdala hijack. Inside the brain, a perceived threat hits the amygdala. It immediately pumps stress hormones, signaling your body to fight or flee before the signal reaches your frontal lobes. This bypass locks the logical brain shut, treating a text message exactly like a physical predator. This frantic impulse to fix or lash out is a relic of our evolutionary past, an ancient survival mechanism firing in an environment it wasn't built for. To reclaim control, we have to expand the stimulus-response gap, the invisible fraction of a second between a trigger occurring and your behavior following it. Psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl observed within this specific space lies our power to choose our response. In that choice, we find our freedom. For those who grew up where danger was unpredictable, the nervous system prioritized speed over spaciousness. To survive, the brain developed hyper-precise reactivity, mapping the environment so quickly that the behavioral response happens before the thinking brain even gets a vote. Because the logical brain is the last to arrive at the scene of a hijack, you cannot think your way back to safety. You have to use the body to signal the brain that the crisis is over. The fastest biological override is the physiological sigh. You take a double inhale through the nose, followed by a long, slow exhale through the mouth. Executing this breath in a heated moment is a forced biological reclamation of the neurological real estate needed to make a rational choice. Once the breath brings the frontal lobes back online, you still have to manage the intense emotions circulating in your system. This is where cognitive tools act as psychological circuit breakers. The first is equanimitas, a principle of imperturbability championed by Sir William Osler for doctors navigating high-stakes medical emergencies. Osler advocated for a rigorous balance between the head and the heart, maintaining a presence of mind that prevents external pressures from dictating internal chaos. The second tool is distancing. The goal is to physically visualize a separation between your identity and the intense emotion. One common exercise involves visualizing your thoughts as leaves on a stream, watching the emotion float away rather than absorbing into your core. Finally, the Stoic internal locus of control reminds us that while the trigger is external and unchangeable, our opinion of that trigger belongs entirely to us. These tools don't stop the emotion from existing, they stop the emotion from dictating the next 10 minutes of your life. This process relies on healthy containment, regulating your expression, rather than suppression, which is the toxic denial of the feeling itself. For high-conflict situations, therapists recommend the gray rock method. You intentionally become as uninteresting and unresponsive as a gray rock. In this state, you process your internal feelings fully, but you choose to starve an unsafe person of the dramatic reaction they want to provoke. Let's return to the dark room. Your phone buzzes. We need to talk. The biological spike still hits. Your heart still jumps. But instead of hitting send on an angry draft, you pause and execute the physiological sigh. You've bought your frontal lobes time to evaluate the message. You realize the emergency is likely imagined, allowing you to formulate a measured, rational reply. Mastery lies in cultivating that millisecond of awareness, transforming an automatic survival reflex into a conscious choice. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.